Olaedo sat outside the hut, confused, sad and full of tears with despair. How can my younger sister do this to me? How can my stepmother betray me like this? Why will my father abandon me and not say anything about what is happening? Why is this world so wicked? Why must they take the only good thing that happens to me after the death of my mother? She thought all this to herself. Then her two friends, Nkwolika and Njideka, came to console her, telling her that the gods will see her through and that a better man will come her way. Once upon a time, in a little village, there lived a woman called Norma who got married to a hard-working farmer and also a fisherman known as Agaba. She was the only child of her parents, and after some years, the gods smiled at Agaba and Norma. They gave birth to a beautiful little baby girl called Olaedo. Olaedo was the apple of her parents' eyes. They loved her so much and gave her all life has to offer for her. After many tries of conceiving another baby, Norma gave up, and Agaba, that is Olaedo's father, began to beg the mother to let him take a second wife because they need to give birth to a boy who will continue the hair and bear the surname. Norma agreed that Agaba should take a second wife. Her husband, Agaba, promised her that he will always love her and also take care of her and his beautiful daughter, Olaedo. After some weeks of searching, Agaba got himself a new bride called Omoye. Omoye, when she came to the place, she acted like a good wife. She respected her senior wife, Olaedo's mother. She even treated Olaedo like her own child until she became pregnant and gave birth to a son called Akpini. Story on how Omoye got the son Akpini was a shock because after some years of being married to Agabi and she noticed that she was not getting pregnant, Omoye seeked the face of the powerful sorcerer and begged him for a child and that she was going to do everything possible to make sure that she had a son. And the powerful native doctor accepted and gave Omoye a son called Akpini. Immediately Omoye put to bed, Agabi's love for Olaedo's mother reduced drastically. He started paying more attention and love to Omoye and her son. That got Norma worried and even Olaedo, but they still continued to be nice and good to Omoye and her son. After some months, Omoye gave birth again with tears of joy to another beautiful baby called Meso. Olaedo's mother was so overjoyed because she has gotten herself another daughter in the form of Meso. Despite the fact that they treated Norma and Olaedo with disrespect in the place, but her good heart kept her moving. Omoye started picking up offenses as Norma and Olaedo. She insulted her, abused her, and cursed her at every given opportunity that she got. One day, Norma sat in her hut, calling out her chi, praying for another child since her beloved husband has abandoned her and her only child, Olaedo. Then she was surprised to see a toggle on her clothes. It was Olaedo, her only beloved daughter, telling her to stop crying and that she, Olaedo, will make her mother proud. And they hugged themselves. Whenever Olaedo wanted to play with her other siblings, Omoye will come out and start mocking her. Even her other step-siblings started telling her to go back to her barren mother, which made Olaedo very sad. They all grew up and Olaedo became a very beautiful, hardworking woman, became the eyes of so many young men across the villages. In fact, she caught the attention of Emenike, the village merchant, who traveled far and wide to sell his products of diamonds and gold. After a few months, Emenike, the village merchant, asked Olaedo for her hand in marriage because Emenike loved Olaedo due to her homely and calm and beautiful nature. When he made his intention known to her, Olaedo was very happy. She ran off and immediately went to tell her mother the good news. Mama, 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 I have seen the man that will make me his wife. He is not only rich, but he is also a kind and a good man. Meso was so happy that she will finally reap the fruit of her labor. As she was not able to give birth to more children, she prayed that Olaedo, through her, will give birth to so many children that we call her grandma. Omoye, when she heard that Olaedo will soon be getting married, she was not happy. How can Olaedo get herself a rich merchant? She became overly jealous and she went back to her sorcerer, the same one that gave her all her children, and begged the sorcerer, I don't want Olaedo to get married. In fact, I want my only daughter, that is Mmesoma, to be the one that will marry Emenike since he is rich and wealthy. But the native sorcerer told Omoye, I have given you children. You begged for children, I gave it to you. Now you are asking for a difficult task, wanting Emenike to choose your daughter over Olaedo. Do you know the repercussion? I am going to tell you the repercussion. But Omoye declined and said, I don't want to hear about the repercussion. Just do what I ask you to do. I don't want Olaedo to marry Emenike. Emenike is meant for my daughter. And the native sorcerer told her, okay. What is going to happen is that I will give you something to put inside Olaedo's mother's food so that she'll be out of the picture. In that way, you will be able to manipulate your evil way and make your daughter marry Emenike, which she agreed. The native sorcerer immediately gave her a white substance and she cooked for the whole family. She specifically put a few portions inside Olaedo's mother's food, and after eating it, few days later, Meso became sick and she later died mysteriously, which made Olaedo devastated. Her only happiness and her backbone has passed on. Expecting Emenike to be her strong pillar since her mother have died, but things turned out for the worst as Omoye went ahead to spread false rumor that Olaedo's mother is a witch and that Olaedo is still a witch and that she was the one that killed her mother. Emenike was so scared when he heard what happened. He didn't even confirm from Olaedo and believed everything he heard. In fact, Omoye went to see Emenike the merchant herself and told him all sorts of lies about Olaedo, and even told Emenike that her daughter Meso will make a better wife for Emenike. And before you know it, Emenike started falling for Mmesoma. Though Mmesoma was a pretty lady also, but she was not humble like Olaedo, she was lazy, and she was not hardworking. This she hid from Emenike, who felt that he has acquired another beautiful property. In fact, the jars that they used on Emenike made Emenike to despise Olaedo so very much. Olaedo's heart tore into pieces when she found that her own fiance, that is Emenike, was betrayed her and is going for her younger sister. The traditional marriage came and Meso was so happy that at the end of the day, she snatched Olaedo's fiancé and made her the husband. Mmesoma and Emenike the merchant got married traditionally. He took her home and the whole villagers started pointing accusing fingers at Olaedo. You killed your mother, and now your sister is marrying your husband. What have you done? Whatever evil that is bewitching you, you had better remove it. Olaedo could not take it anymore. She couldn't take the disgrace, she couldn't take the shame, she couldn't take the insult and abuses. She vowed that she will never get married, and because of the shame and the accusation, she had to move to another village because she didn't want to be reminded of her misfortune. After some months in her new village, Olaedo, who has been very hardworking, made a name for herself, and she attracted the eyes of a young man who happened to be a new farmer in the community. They both fell in love, and Olaedo opened up to Ifeanyi, the farmer who fell in love with her, that she has vowed never to get married, believing that she was cursed. But after some months, Ifeanyi had to break the war, and they fell not only in love, he indicated interest in marrying her. Olaedo was initially apprehensive about it, but later gave in after so many cajoled from Ifeanyi. I am a cursed woman. How can you look at me and marry me like that? But Ifeanyi smiled and said, you are not a cursed woman. Misfortune happened to you doesn't mean that you are an evil person. I love you the way you are. You are not only hardworking, but you are kind and generous. I have seen the way you talk to the villagers. I have seen the way you play with children. I have seen the way you help people around. You are indeed my God sent. I am going to see your father. I want to make you my wife. And Olaedo took Ifeanyi the farmer to her father, who gave the blessings. Her father was so happy to see Olaedo. On the day of the marriage, the villagers gathered and were astonished to discover that Ifeanyi the farmer was actually the son of a king who lived in a nearby village but lost farming and loved living a simple life. He had to disguise himself so that he would be able to find a woman of his dream, and he got to find Olaedo. They were all surprised in the village to see the prince from the neighboring village, his father the king, and the other cabinet members coming. Emenike and his wife also came to witness the marriage ceremony. Emenike looked downcasted. In fact, his merchant business started falling apart and he became poor. Even his wife, Mesoma, has been barren for some years now. Emenike's eyes was filled with regret, seeing Olaedo, so beautiful, the woman that he wanted to make his wife, was taken away. After the marriage ceremony, Ifeanyi took his beautiful wife Olaedo, and after a few months, she gave birth to a bouncing baby boy. In fact, she gave birth to another set of twins in less than 2 years. This proved that she was not barren and she was not a witch. It actually changed the narrative in the village. And on the other hand, Omoye's mother felt bad in what she did, and mysterious sickness befell on her. She confessed to the general public and the villagers at last how she went to a native doctor to get her children and how she poisoned Olaedo's mother, and she was responsible for the barrenness of her daughter, which made the villagers surprised, shocked. You, this wicked woman, look at what you have done to this family. In fact, you are going to be banished. And that was how they banished Omoye from the village. Upon hearing the public confession, Emenike's eyes cleared and he saw Meso and said, I don't love you. I have never loved you. What are you doing in my house? You are not my wife. He immediately took Meso's goods, load, and sent her packing. That was how Meso left Emenike's house, dejected, ashamed, and in full of regret, what she and her mother planned has backfired. And on the other hand, Olaedo became the apple of Fanny's eyes. In fact, the villagers loved her because she was kind-hearted and she will definitely make a good queen in the nearest future. Okay guys, thank you very much for watching. The moral lesson of this story is never pay evil with evil and always be kind to your neighbors no matter how hard it is. Thank you very much and do have a lovely day ahead. Bye bye.